have we got a treat this morning? Fog, frost, sitting about -1. It's a chiller, and there's a small chance we're going to get light as well, because the forecast is for it to be clear, obviously apart from the fog that's here. So there's every chance. I'm back around Silverdale again. When the conditions are like this, it's the perfect spot. And I've come to this location today called Handheld, which I've actually never been to. And it's part of what I want to talk about today. And I think it's really cool because it's like a kind of woodlandy location, but it's one of those where, I mean, look, it's all kind of spread out. So in these sorts of conditions, what I'm hoping for really is, you know, when you get the odd sort of lone tree in the fog in the middle of a meadow, or maybe a group of trees, something like that, or maybe some little sections of proper woodland as well. I think that'll be cool. So I'm trying to keep my options open. We've got all these beautiful dry stone walls you can probably see, and yeah, the conditions are fantastic. And I want to talk a little bit about planning as well. Lovely. So I'm just going to grab a quick shot here, guys, whilst it's looking so beautiful. It's a stunning morning. It was really clear last night and cold, and you'll find often, and really still as well, and you'll find often when you get those conditions the night before, you know, not always, but sometimes it can end up like this. Gorgeous foggy morning. Now it is past the sunrise, but the fog must be really thick, or there must be some cloud somewhere. So we're not getting any light at the minute, but I've been really attracted to this little scene here, just as a quick shot, snapshot really. It's a nice little wooded area. I quite like this big bush here, and then these two bigger trees, this one and this one. So I'm shooting with the 16 to 35 millimeter, and I'm zoomed in all the way in at 35, so I'm pretty tight, and it's pretty much, yeah, just like that, nice and simple. So I'll probably keep it at this crop. I'm liking that I'm capturing a fair bit of the floor here at Handheld, just to show how frosty this beautiful morning is. 1/40th of a second, I'll just double check that, yeah, that's fine. 1/40th of a second, f7.1, I've opened that up slightly just to let a bit more light in, and as you can see there, I've just got ISO on auto, because you can see it's not really going up by that much, so it doesn't matter. Let's try that. Ah, stunning. So yeah, for me, that's just the story of what I've been enjoying this morning. Sorry, I did focus on the trees back there as well, in the background, but yeah, that's a nice little story of my little walk so far. I'm going to head up in this direction, actually probably up this little path here, see what else we can find. Can you hear that? It is peaceful. It's just me and the bird song. This is life. This is what life is all about. This fog is stunning. I found a really cool spot here. I've just stumbled upon it, and I've got an idea for a photograph. I'll talk you through it in a minute. It's a little bit weird. It's a little bit unorthodox as far as my photography goes anyway, but I think it's going to be quite, I think it's going to come out quite nice. Nice idea at least. But let's talk about planning. That's what I wanted to get into in this video. And basically all I wanted to say is this. It's really simple. If you're the type of landscape photographer that is always planning, I'd say from my limited experience and my limited wisdom for sure, maybe try and go out on a few adventures without planning. Of course you need to do it a little bit. My extent of planning for this morning, for example, is where am I going to go and what is the weather like. And to be honest, I've found over 90% of the time, that's my photography adventures. It's very rare that I sit down and properly plan an adventure. I used to, and I definitely still think there's a place for it. You know, I'm not knocking it, 100% there's a place for it, but I used to like plot routes. I used to use photo pills, the photographer's ephemeris, those sorts of things to see exactly where the sun was coming up. I used to use Google Earth to see where the light was going to hit the mountains and stuff, and like I said, 100% there's a place for that, especially if you're going on a huge drive and you're putting in loads of effort on a hike. But I think my point here is you can only plan so much before you hit a point where you're kind of just dependent on the environment and the conditions and the weather. And I found sometimes that can mess with your expectations, and it can actually negatively affect your inspiration and your motivation and your creativity even, because you're always, not always, but so much of the time, if you're planning so much, you're kind of left disappointed, to be honest. And that's what I found in the past, is if I was planning too much, I'd always come back, oh, like this morning, for example, if I'd have really planned this out and I said, right, I need fog and light for this specific photograph, we haven't got the light, we've only got the fog, and then I might have gone home disappointed. Whereas today, I've just picked a spot on the map, it was forecast a little bit of fog, and I've just come out, and I can't be disappointed because I've got no expectations. And yeah, it's like really simple, but just something that I've found over the past while, really. And it is so much better. And yeah, come to think of it, really, it's just down to expectations. I don't have any. You know, we're out with our cameras because we enjoy it, and I always enjoy it because I just don't really care. I don't expect anything. I take every single adventure for what it is. And if I come back with no decent photographs, then so be it. Like, I've had a mint time out, and yeah, I just think sometimes if you plan, especially if you're over planning, you're setting yourself up for failure almost, aren't you? You know, so give it a go if you're a bit of a planner, like I used to be. Pick a spot on a map. I use Bing Maps, by the way, for anyone that's in the UK. I'm not sure how it works in other countries. Just for my topography maps or my ordnance survey maps, it's got an ordnance survey overlay. It's absolutely class. I've seen it on I think Simon Baxter, who I'm a huge fan of, he shared it on, I think it's like one of his old Instagram stories, and I never knew about it, and I use it religiously now, just to see where I'd like to go, you know. Right, let's get into this photograph because the conditions are still lovely, and we all know that fog does not last forever. So let's get into this photograph, and before we do, look at this. We're about an hour after the sunrise now, I think, and the fog has stuck around. It is beautiful, and I love this type of photography. I suppose it kind of is woodland photography, you know, at the end of the day we're photographing trees. And this is pretty cool, you know, if you struggle with woodland photography like so many people do, I still do from time to time, I really struggle to make sense of the chaos in a woodland. These are really good places to come, places where you get these open spaces, but you're still looking back into dense woodlands, and it's a lot cleaner, a lot tidier, and a lot easier to make sense of, I find as well. I must admit, the fog is definitely helping on that front. I can't lie about that. So I said I'm going to try something a little bit strange, and for me it definitely is. It's a bit of a, I suppose it's a woodland pano. I don't think I've ever done anything like this, not in a sort of open space like this. So I think, I'm not 100% sure, I might play around with the crop when I get it home, but I think I'm going to start it there, see how there's a little bit of a gap there, and then pan all the way over to the left to there, that next gap. And as I walked up here just on this field, I just kind of stumbled across it, and like I said in my last video, just kind of thinking in the telephoto range as I was looking at it and thinking, oh yeah, if I do a pano across there, left to right or right to left, whatever, that could work quite nicely. Which of course remains to be seen, but it's a bit of fun, you know. I like trying new things like this, and yeah, we'll give it a go. Oh, low battery. I've got another one in the bag. Right, so first things first, focus. I'm going to focus just on one of the tree trunks in the background, and because they're all the same distance away from me, the focus is going to stay the same all the way throughout the pano, you know. Same with the settings, I want them all manual and I want them to stay the same. I'll just bring my shutter to 1/100th, there we go. 1/100th f5.6 and ISO 100, and then I'm just going to get the electronic level up, starting that little gap like I said, because we're shooting handheld, get the electronic level up, and I'm just going to do a quick pan. Yeah, it needs to be a little bit higher. Shooting at 55mm, by the way. There we go. And I mean, hopefully it stitches together all right. I think it'll be fine. I've done enough of these handheld panels now that I feel confident enough, you know. I'll tell you what I love. If you look just below my camera, even where you've got these beautiful sort of mint greens, I absolutely love it when you get the frost mixed with the subtle colours this time of year. It's almost like the frost and the fog as well, of course, is kind of enhancing that subtlety, if that's not too much of an oxymoron. So that was probably about 7 shots. Like I say, I'm not 100% sure where I'm going to crop. I'll pop that up on the screen now. Yeah, hopefully that one's come out all right. It is a beautiful morning. I just can't get over it. It's ridiculous. So yeah, a little bit experimental. It looks beautiful with my eyes. We all know as photographers sometimes that doesn't translate to the photograph. But we're out here living the dream. Right, I'm going nowhere because this fog is absolutely ridiculous. Let's see what else we can find. So I've been eyeing up this tree right off in the background there. See, it's like a kind of Y shape. And I seen him ages ago. I was like circling around him before. I was like I was like hunting it like it was prey. And I couldn't make anything of it with the camera. And I must admit I gave up and I walked down this way through this little pathway and looked over my left shoulder and just spied him again. And I thought, there's a shot there. And I was lucky. But I think because we've still got the fog lingering, there's a shot here and I can make something of him really. I'm trying two different approaches. I'm trying one with the 16 to 35mm lens at about 20mm, and I'm incorporating this rock down here, and it's a fairly wide scene. I wouldn't say that Y-shaped tree is necessarily the main subject, but I've tried to centralise him in the frame so the pathway leads towards him, so he's a nice finish point. Still a really important part of the photograph. But we get these trees here in the background that kind of arch back in towards the pathway, you know, which I really like. I like the look of it. So I've tried that, rock down in the bottom right third as well. And then I also tried a shot with the telephoto lens, basically zoomed right down the pathway towards the Y-shaped tree. And it looked really cool, very different from the wide shot, you know. And it really is the main focal point in that image, I'd like to think. And shot it at f11, zoomed across the sort of floor here of this area. And f11 was good because I was zoomed at 135mm. I was still getting a little bit of foreground blur at f11. So I didn't want to open up my aperture too much because we were getting some of these rocks off in the background just over there, I think, is it? Yeah, over there. Or is it that side there, I think? So I didn't want them too blurry. They were also quite an important part of the photograph. But that's cool as well. But too interesting because it's two really different perspectives on exactly the same subject, really. And it's all to do with messing about with your focal length. This is a playground. If there was ever a playground for a landscape photographer on a foggy morning, this is it. Let's crack on. Tell you what, it doesn't get better than this. This has been an absolute cracker. And yeah, the point I wanted to make in this video was try and get out and about without planning. Honestly, it has worked absolute wonders for me, and I really mean that. It's something, you know, stupidly simple. Just going out and about without too much thought about where you're going, and of course checking the weather, but not really being too bothered about what it's going to do or how it's going to affect your photography. Just take it in your stride almost, I suppose, is what it is, and just is what it is. Go out and enjoy it. And my own enjoyment factor of landscape photography has gone up tenfold. Right, I've got a question for you. I'm hoping someone can answer this. What, if anybody knows, what type of sheep is this? Just turn my camera around. What are they? Right, these things here. Because I don't. There's one here. Look, he's looking at me. I'm not a fan of them. I don't like the way they look. I don't like the way sheep look at me at the best of times, but this particular breed, or perhaps they're just male sheep, I don't know. Look at him. He wants to kill me, like. That is pure hatred and devil within this sheep's eyes. Yeah. Please tell me what, because I see them out and about all the time and they worry me. Just a quick interruption. I forgot to say, I'm really sorry, I was meant to say this in the video. We're back in the office with the yellow walls. My print sale, 30% off all my prints. There's one here, Bluebells. And I'm probably only going to have it on for another month. That is Glencoe, one of my faves. So yeah, cheers for your support in any print purchases, much appreciated. I'll put a link in the video description below. Back to the video. What an adventure, what a morning. Thank you so much for tuning in. Always hugely appreciated. If you could give the video a thumbs up down below the video itself here on YouTube, I'd really appreciate that. Of course, it helps out my content. Thanks for tuning in, really appreciate it, and I shall see yous on the next adventure. Out.